You're listening to 904wed.com, a real wedding podcast where we are following a very real bride, Amber Flowers, located right there on the bottom of your screen, through her wedding planning process. And right above her is Ann LaFiles of Premier Bride of Northeast Florida Magazine, Bridal Expo Extraordinaire. And Amber, welcome to our show today. We have a lot to talk about, don't we?
We do. Oh, yes.
Yes. Today is all about entertainment decisions. And you know, I have a special little surprise for the two of you. We have got two of the top DJ companies in the area representing tonight. It is going to be a lot of fun. Let's go introduce Kris and Kevin, everyone. Right there at the bottom of your screen, we've got DJ Kevin Toast of Party Solution Entertainment. That is Party Solution because he says there is only one solution when it comes to entertainment in the city. And we've got Kris Parnell of Footloose Entertainment. Now, these two guys represent multi-operators, what they call them, DJ companies. It's not just them. It's many guys working with them each and every week when there are weddings. And they happen to both be hosts of Ann LaFile's very own Premier Bride of Northeast Florida Bridal Expos. They kind of rotate the responsibility. So, first off, guys, let me ask for Amber and Ann, who may not really get the whole, and other brides out there, the whole multiple DJ thing. Why do you guys have multiple DJs working for you? Kevin, what got you into this? Why are you not just on your own?
The calls just kept coming in. I didn't know how to deal with it. I was always booked on the cheapest wedding, and I just know that I needed to expand. I needed to add team members to do more weddings. Just straight up, we just wanted to do more weddings.
And Kris, I got to ask you the same thing. We're going to treat you guys fairly here today. Why did you decide to go from solo operator to multiple DJs working with you?
I think same concept. We just kept getting calls. And fortunately for me, the gentleman that trained me was actually the first DJ that I hired to provide entertainment or to provide a second DJ. And we just kind of grew from there.
So you did the old karate thing. You hired your master right there. I love it. And for the sake of everyone out there, you know, as we kind of go through entertainment and kind of set this up, why is it important to consider a DJ company that represents one or more DJs versus a DJ who's operating on their own? I mean, everyone starts there, right? How should a bride or groom who are evaluating this, having to make a very big decision months before their big day, consider that? I
personally think one of the biggest reasons is that if for some reason your DJ got sick, if it's a sole proprietor or sole operator, they're done. With us, we have multiple DJs. We have the ability to roll an event to the next DJ to make sure you're next up.
Toast, what are your thoughts on that?
Backup is the number one. Number two is the mentorship. Having a person that's been in the business for an extended amount of time, just kind of being able to pass the torch down to some of the younger guys and just learning new ideas and constantly bouncing things off of each other. There's no one specific way to do weddings. I do them one way. Kris does them another way. It's not different. It's not the same. It's just another way. So it's just a chance to bounce ideas off of each other so that you're always growing and learning and advancing.
So when a bride like Amber, as we get into her wedding, calls one of you, let's say, and has some questions, do you guys automatically know who you're going to send right then and there? Is there a whole process to that? How should brides look at this when they're talking to DJs? And that's probably an important question they should be asking, right? Is who's going to actually show up at my wedding?
A great question, and Kris and I are actually on opposite polar ends of how we kind of roll it. I wait until as we get a little bit closer to analyze the gear that's going out to the wedding, as well as the bride's music sheets, to make sure that I can try to match up personalities just a little bit better, and I want to be able to make that match.
Kris, so Kevin says you're different. This is your chance to tell him he's dead right or dead wrong here.
It's not a right or wrong. It's just how you would like to do it. Personally, for me, I always look at that initial sales meeting as almost as we are interviewing the client as the client is interviewing us. And I'd like to have our client meet with the DJ, at least have a conversation and make sure their personalities meet up, because every client's different, every DJ's different, and we just want to make sure that they have the right chemistry before it gets right to the wedding. That's just a little bit a different way that we do.
Well, speaking of getting right to weddings here, Amber's wedding is not very far away. I feel like every week that goes by, it feels like we're moving months, not just weeks here personally. But Amber, you've got a lot of decisions to make. We've talked about some of your entertainment decisions. You've got a couple really unique things that you're doing that are not found at a lot of weddings, including a live performer. I won't give away any details you don't want to share there, but what kind of concerns and questions do you have right now when it comes to your entertainment decisions?
I mean, I'm putting you on the spot as well, so I'm really confident in the entertainment. My main thing, as a bride, that I'm very meticulous. I don't like a lot of wires, and I know I spoke this in previous episodes. So a very clean, I also love music, and so does my fiance, Kris. So we have a playlist started, and I think the most important thing to me is the setup. The sound. I don't like bulky speakers everywhere, and I like just a clean setup. And also, I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of competition out there, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but I like the hype. I mean, we're a young couple. We just want the hype, and we want to feel the energy, and I think that's a lot has to do with obviously, I think it's all to do with the entertainment.
It really does. Kevin and I'm sure Kris will agree that the DJ is the quarterback when it comes to your party, and you want to have an awesome quarterback that is your kind of style. But let's talk about setup real quick. Kevin, when it comes to setup, she's talking about clean wires. Elaborate on what your standard is. And Kris, don't worry, we're going to get to your standard as well. And tell me, some of the things that you see out there that maybe brides aren't aware of until they walk in the room, because they are asking these questions, ahead of time.
Amber, I applaud you on asking those questions and knowing what you're looking for and making sure that you're going to get that. It's crazy how many clients or couples call up and just say, kind of what's your price. But to get to the gear, the setup, it's been a pet peeve of mine since I started in Northeast Florida back in 2013, was to always have a clean setup, was to always be innovating and doing things different. And I introduced a few different furniture pieces to Northeast Florida, and now it seems like everyone's got a nice furniture piece now. But I applaud you on that, and you know what you wanted, and you went out and got what you wanted, and we can't wait to see it.
Kris, when it comes to clean setups, how do you feel about that? I know that you recently acquired a very brand new DJ booth yourself. Talk to us about that.
I agree with you. I believe that every DJ should have a facade, should have something that covers all of their systems so you see nothing. It should have wires taped down. It should look clean. Yes, I got a brand new system. Same thing, I believe Wes has 65-inch screen television booth that can do videos and can do monograms and do all that stuff. So that's hot and loving working with that.
All right, so we both know that you're on the same page with Amber here when it comes to clean setups, but she's talking about hype. How should a bride find that out, right? What is the best way for Amber or any other bride or groom out there who's looking for a DJ? I'm going to throw this to Ann before I even give it to you guys, right? How could someone use Premier Bride, and what other advice do you have for figuring out that personality of your DJ? Because you're really not going to see that at a bridal expo necessarily, right, Ann?
I disagree a little bit. I think a bridal expo is a great place to come and meet a DJ, because you're going to see you can stand back a little bit, see how the DJ is interacting with the other couples that he's talking to. I mean, Kevin and Kris both are the MCs at my expos. Kevin is always at the Renaissance Resort. Kris is always at the Prime Osborne as the MC for the event, so they always give a great showcase of what they're doing at the expos, how they're talking to the crowds, and they always have great setups too. So I mean, you're going to get to see everything. Mm-hmm. But even with Premier Bride magazine on our online profiles, DJs can give us video links to show their work, so people can, view samples of their work right from online. So we try and provide people the tools and the information so that they can see a little bit of the personality of the DJ, because everybody's different. Everybody wants a different feel for their wedding. I mean, some people want the hype like Amber. Some people want dinner music in the background, and that's all they want, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer. You just have to find the right entertainment company that is going to match for you.
Kris, we'll let you go first with this one. What would you like brides to be asking you, or what would you like to be able to show brides, or what do you show brides, right, to show them your personality and style at a wedding?
It really does come down to the bride. It's what they want. Of course, every bride is different, like I said earlier. Some want the hype, which we love, and some want the very low key. So it is playing to what the bride and groom want. So that's why I said kind of that initial meeting. That's one of the reasons why we set up for the DJ to do it immediately, because we want to get that. This is what we want. Is this a Latin crowd? Is this, what type of crowd is it? And again, coming back to the bridal show, yes, I think it's great because you do get to see. Normally, DJ's going to come up with their best setup there. If they're there, they don't have a facade. They're going to dress the way they do. Maybe they have shorts on while they're talking to brides. You can kind of see how they dress. That's an inside joke, so I apologize for that.
I'm not going to ask either one of you to tilt down and show us the shorts or the pants or maybe nothing that you're wearing right now, right? But I could tell Toast is getting a little nervous right there. He's constantly checking those headphones like a DJ would be, taking them off and on. But Toast, you're doing something unique that no other DJ in the city as of today is currently doing. What are you doing to kind of showcase your style right now with your very own radio station?
I love that you prefaced today, because it'll probably happen tomorrow. We'll see another radio station. But we launched PSC.radio a couple months ago, kind of our quarantine project. We had nothing to do but book brides, postpone weddings, and kind of practice. We went live a few times just to kind of have our brides see what exactly they were going to get into. So our radio station streaming live. It's www.psc.radio. It is fully mixed by the DJs of Party Solution Entertainment 24/7. It started out as a brainchild. So what are the brides and couples listening to in their bride and groom suites the day of their wedding? Are they just hitting Spotify, hitting next? Cool. So we threw this radio station out just to give them a little bit of a vibe, what will come next, or just to kind of set their vibe up super high. Then when they go with that kind of like circus performer DJ at their wedding, they're kind of disappointed, later. So it was just kind of our way of just getting to every single wedding, every weekend, and that's PSU.radio. But to touch on the personality thing at the bridal shows, it is a huge way for us to get our personalities across to the brides. And when you're shopping, and you can see how they interact with other clients, how many times they say the word or if they finish sentence with, you know what I'm saying? That's how they're going to be on the microphone at your wedding, at your once-in-a-lifetime affair. So the bridal shows are not only for the gear, but personality-wise and the ability to public speak, being able to handle a crowd and have multiple people come up at different times. I love the bridal shows. I've been a Premier Bride fan since its inception with Party Solution. I've done every single show since 2014, and I'm going to do every show, and you're going to have to come and drag me out.
You hear that, Aaron? You're gonna have to drag him out. Well, we're gonna play a little game here with Amber right now. We're gonna call it Scare the Bride. All right. So, Kris, Kevin, I am going to let each of you tell me some of the horror stories that you have seen out there when it comes to DJs. Right? To just let brides and Amber know things that they might need to look out for. Right? Kevin, tell me one of your scary stories.
Oh well, man. Is it the Spotify playlist guy right now? Is he the one that's really terrorizing the market? They're just coming in with your playlist, and they're going to play every single song that you want to hear, but they're going to play it on a Spotify playlist. And Amber, I know where your venue is, and I know it happens to be, in BFE, and there's no strong Wi-Fi signal. So I would love to hear a DJ play at Chandler Oaks and try to use Spotify. It would be comical.
Amber is having a couple internet connections. This is a show that we record live. We're in the middle of COVID, everyone, so we're all remote at our various offices or other locations.
I would not love that.
We're speaking for Amber right now, but she'll be back in just a minute. Kris, tell me one of your horror stories.
Man, there's just so many here. Actually, I talked to a bride today, and we were about to do her finalization meeting, and she was talking about how she wanted to meet face to face, and she actually wants me to go to the venue, and I'm like, I have no problem with that, because she was talking about her daughter got married, and the DJ was so bad that he didn't know what he was doing. He literally, for the song for them to walk on the aisle to, played the wrong song. He played "Oh You Sexy Thing." for the bride to walk down the aisle, and they were just petrified. So she's like stressed out about how, what's going to happen. And it's just, it's hilarious, but it's horrifying because that looks bad on all of us when a DJ does that. So, and I take offense to that, Kevin, because I live right down the street from Chandler Oaks. The internet is not that bad.
Oh, I have a horror story.
Oh, let's hear it, Ann.
Well, I've attended, obviously, tons and tons of weddings. And this was actually before my wedding, before I was in the wedding industry. And the bride and groom hired a DJ that they like to go and listen to at the club. So they played all this club music, nothing that anybody really wanted to dance to. And the DJ couldn't say their names, didn't know how to MC the event, how to call people to go to dinners, how to make any of the announcements. He was like terrible at talking on the microphone, but he could mix the all right if you like that techno music. So that is one of the reasons why I was like, even before I got in the wedding industry, I was like, holy moly, you really have to pay attention who you hire as your DJ because they are the MC for your event. And I'll just do a little plug, Kris was the MC at my wedding.
Oh, there we go. All right. I love the plugs.
Kevin wasn't even really around yet. So I'm just saying, I love Kevin too, but Kris was my man.
I was scared there for a minute when she was talking about horror stories about her wedding. I was like, hold on a second.
Oh, no.
I also like to point out that you were all color coordinating today without me, so I'm feeling a lot of shade being thrown right now.
No, Kris was actually awesome at my wedding because we had 2 different live bands that traveled in for us, and he had to do a lot of talking in between while setups were going on because my husband's a little crazy, so that's what we had.
He's awesome.
Well, speaking of live bands, Amber is going to have a live performer at her wedding. Amber, I don't know how much of this you want to share right now, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot. We'll censor out whatever you don't want to share, but what are you doing with a live performer? What can you tell us right now?
Oh, wow. So connection's good. I'm back with you guys.
You are back with us, yes.
Okay, great. So the performer, I don't want to give away too much, I know Ann already knows who it is because she knows the fam, but she is going to be doing our first dance. I mean, I think I just gave it away. I said she.
Say no more.
She's living in
Say
Nashville
no more.
right now.
We can beep you out. We can beep it out so no one even knows. Censored. She's going to be doing our first dance, and I want her to do more, but she is a part of the family as well, so she's going to be a part of the party. Well, let me break it down for you and give Kevin and Kris a chance to kind of give you some advice. And again, this also applies for other brides. We haven't even talked about live performers as options during ceremonies, which I'm sure is something we're going to get to in a minute. But when it comes to live performance during the reception, especially family members, what kind of advice, good or bad, do you have to share about what you guys have seen in all your years of experience, Kris and Kevin?
For me, I don't really have a problem with it. Just would like to know ahead of time that it's going to take place so we can make sure we have the correct cords or the correct connections. Because I've had people show up and go, "Hey, we want to connect a keyboard into your system," and I've got like a 3-foot cord, and that's all I have. They didn't bring anything, and I'm like, I don't have a cord long enough for you to even there's no way it's going to work. But we'll make it work best we can. So yeah, just make sure your DJ is aware of what you need ahead of time.
I want a sound check, to be honest with you, before ceremony starts, right in that kind of 20 to 30 minutes before guests arrive. I want to try to get a sound check to try to get the room rung out as far as feedback issues, where they're going to stand specifically. Getting all the equipment together, and DJs really don't carry 1/4-inch equipment or DI boxes to be able to plug in a acoustic guitar, and whether or not they have pedals and effects and all that. So it's a good conversation to have, weeks in advance to try to get on the same same page of what they need. I've got a horror story where they asked me for a mic stand for 6 weeks, and I brought a mic stand, and they meant a music stand. So I had nothing to put their papers on. Just musicians are very, very talented, very specific, to the wedding, and there's nothing more elegant than live music.
That is very true. So, Amber, let me share something with you that actually happened to Kevin and I. We were working a wedding together. It's no secret that I DJ with Kevin's company, but that's not really the focus of today's podcast episode. We were doing something very similar to what you're describing. A guest of the bride and groom was going to perform and did perform a live song. I think it was for their first dance, or it was a special dance of some sort, right there in the middle of their reception. We did a sound check with her, if I recall. It wasn't necessarily at full volume. It was kind of during cocktail hour when no one was in the room. She gets up there. She turns into a full opera singer, if I'm not mistaken, and she was good. She wasn't the embarrassing family friend. She was definitely talented and definitely trained in what she did, and she gave such an impressive performance. She had a dessert bar that had some glass containers on it, and either her voice, there's a debate, and we'll never know the truth. Either her voice or maybe the sub that was near there vibrated off this glass vase, and it shattered everywhere at the climax of her song. It was something else.
Oh, wow.
There is video of that. There is video of that somewhere.
And I'm going to say this, because being in the music industry, like I have to say something in this realm, is that if you're going to have a live performer at your wedding, please make sure that they're somewhat talented. Just because it sounds like a good idea to have, somebody sing at your wedding because they mean a lot, and they might sing in their, in their high school plays, or they might have, done something in some capacity, smaller, but make sure that they are, have some talent behind it, because they're going to get nervous in front of big crowds, and it's an emotional day, and you really don't want them to fall apart in it. So really try and think about who you are. If you're not hiring a professional, really think about the friend or the family that you're going to have do something at your wedding, because it might not turn out like you want it to.
Very, very true. We're still having some connectivity issues there with Amber. We will get back with some of her questions in a minute, but let's talk about live performances at weddings and how you guys manage that, and some of the advice that you have when it comes to the ceremony itself. Because it's one thing to have the DJ play some pre-recorded selections that the bride groom have come up with. It's another when you start to bring in other people performing there as well. What are you seeing out there, Kris, in some of your own experience with ceremonies when it comes to live instrumental or other performers during the ceremony itself?
I don't see a lot of them, believe it or not. Maybe 1 out of every 10 that we run into live musicians or something like that. So to us, it's not that big of an issue, to be honest with you. Just very rarely.
And Toast, what about you? What comes to mind when you see or hear about live performers at weddings?
I want to provide the PA for it. So in our experience, just help for them to not bring extra speakers and extra cords and need extra power. So I'm all for getting with the live musician in advance, piping them through our system to be able to make sure that it's heard throughout the entire ceremony. In my opinion, 98% of our weddings are taking place outside when we're doing these string quartets, and they sound really pretty in the church, and they sound really amazing in a tight ballroom. But outside on a beach with the wind blowing and the trees rustling and the fountain, I want to mic them up. I want to be able to mic the performers up so that everybody can hear them. Because I know for a fact, unless you're sitting right on top of the musicians, you're not going to be able to hear them across the ceremony.
Well, not just miking the musicians, but miking the couple or the officiant as well. I know this is going to be an interesting question. Everyone has an opinion on this. Kevin, where do you stand on miking up officiants, brides, grooms, etc. during a ceremony? Do's and don'ts.
when I first got here, when I first started, I really looked out to Kris to try to see how it was done here. It just wasn't done the way, I was used to back home. So I just wanted to see kind of his way of doing it to kind of make, my own decisions in this topic. And Kris was like a little mini mentor to me about this, kind of ordeal, because there was just so many different types of people officiating weddings. Kind of where I'm from, it's really straightforward. Here, it's like the Wild West. The aunts and uncles are doing it. The pastors. I've seen a priest come out of a Catholic church. Never in my wildest imagination have I seen that, in my years past. So I just wanted to kind of get it. With me now, Party Solution 2020, moving forward, we supply a set of microphones that have to be used at our ceremony, or contractually we're released from, providing microphones from the ceremony. So it's really the bride deciding whether or not she wants everyone to hear, and she's going to relay that to whoever's officiating the wedding, whether it's a pastor, a priest, or their cousin.
And what kind of microphones are you providing? A handheld, a microphone that's worn on you, and is it going on a stand? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a Party Solution standard that we're rolling with two microphones. One is the lapel, the other is the handheld. So if there is kind of any issues, they can decide amongst themselves kind of what they want to use and how they want to go about it. There are no stands. Every single photographer in Northeast Florida would castrate me for putting a microphone on a stand and ruining their first kiss photo. So there are no stands with Party Solution. We do not bring them. You want one that's got to be off to the side for your grandmother to come up and read, 1 Corinthians. So no stands and two microphones. Everyone's going to hear your vows, regardless if we're outside in a dirt pasture under a tree in the middle of a farm, or we're in, a huge ballroom at the Hyatt with 500 people.
Now, Kris, Kevin Toast has a pretty firm, aggressive stance when it comes to miking at ceremonies. Where do you stand on this?
Maybe that's the difference between being a Southerner and being someone from New York, New Jersey, whatever. We're very, very laid back. We do provide. Did I put the drink down? We do provide 2 lapel mics, or lapel mic and handheld, or 2 handheld. So whatever they prefer. I would say 99% of the time it's a lapel mic for the officiant. Then we'll sometimes mic the groom, or have an additional handheld for someone doing a reading or speech. But we're laid back. It's whatever the bride and groom wants. We try to be as easy as possible, because you do run into those issues where there are certain officiants that don't want the mic, or feel that their voice is loud enough and they don't need a mic. And at that point, as long as the bride and groom are aware that they're the ones that turn it down, hey, whatever, we're good. It's not something we charge for, so it's just included. So it's not like if they paid additional to have the mics there and it doesn't get used, we got to give a refund. It's just included in all of our packages.
Makes sense there. Amber, you're back with us here, fully connected and engaged now. Where do you stand when it comes to mics and being mic'd at your ceremony? And how many guests are you bringing? Because you're doing an outdoor ceremony as well.
Yes. Right now it's just... So we have a really different setup, and it is... Okay, I know you said something about Southern, okay, we do it from here as opposed to Jersey, New York, okay, well, half of my family's Italian, they're coming down from New York, and then half of them are from Florida, so I'm in the middle on that, so I'm like, oh, Lord. And then the big twist is that, so I'm Italian, and I was raised Catholic, Kris, he was raised Baptist, so we're going to sit here and go into this like, okay, what do we do? We have a wonderful man marrying us that happens to be his fraternity brother that's Jewish. So,
oh, wow. So you've got a Baptist, a Catholic, and a Jewish person all at the altar together. This does sound like a joke.
But you know what? He is so close to us, and we love him so much, and we're not doing it like in this traditional way. Like, there's so many things that are non-traditional, but like I said in the beginning of this, people are going to realize our humor. People are going to realize our connection, our love. We are so sarcastic, and it's not going to be where everybody's sobbing their eyes out. So, yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2. There needs to be some mics up there.
She might be the first bride that I've been at where she wants to be mic'd as much as the groom. I might need to go track down my white lapel mic.
Well, I think it just needs to be heard because We were just going back and forth and saying our vows. Like, are we going to do that? Is he going to say? Like, are we going to, jump over something? Are we going to wear something? Like, we don't know because we're both not Jewish, but we have a man that is marrying us. So we decided on we are going to say our own vows. Now, whether we need to be mic'd, I think that is something just like I think Santos was just saying, like, all right, in the area, do we need to have a microphone? Do we need to? Is the crowd going to be able to hear us? Like, I don't know that. I've never been there.
Wait, Ann is dying to say something right now.
I think it's every DJ's job to really push miking the bride and groom, especially if they are doing an outdoor ceremony, because there is nothing worse than being a guest at a wedding and not being able to hear anything. It's awful. I mean, there is nothing more frustrating as a guest to not be able to hear the ceremony, especially if the ceremony is going to last a long time and people are going to be saying meaningful things, and if there's a lot of people there. So I really, really, really think that you have to do it. And if you're getting married at the beach, it is absolutely necessary, because no one will hear a word you're saying unless you have a microphone at the beach. So please, bride. I mean, I don't work with brides and grooms, but I try and put out just little tidbits of information. If there's one thing that I have to say about the ceremony, is use a microphone.
Preach, and preach.
Please.
And is that something that's typically included in the packages? Is that something that's included? I don't know. Is it something that's typically extra?
You got to get Kevin shaking his head left and right and Chris shaking his head up and down, because that is the answer to your question. Tosh, you don't include it as a standard in your pricing packages, right?
It wasn't included until I got with Kris, and Kris was like, "Listen, stop adding it, stop taking it away, stop, just include it. And if a bride doesn't want it, she can leave it on the table, and no one else is the wiser." It was the bride that added it, really wanted it, and then their officiant wouldn't use it. And then afterwards, it's mother of the bride, like, "How come we paid for it? Like, what's up?"
And let's not get started on mother of the brides.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was trying to say. That's exactly it. If you're charging for it and for some reason someone says, "I don't want to use it," you got to do a refund. It's included in ours. I absolutely recommend everyone to be mic the officiant. If you're over 50 people, you absolutely need to be mic'd. And I also recommend micing the groom, because especially if you're doing the vows yourself, because the groom's mic will pick up the bride and it will pick up the groom. Normally, we don't touch the bride. We don't need to.
we won't talk about. We all get that, Kris.
You're not messing with that dress.
You're not touching the bride.
If we do have to be mic'd, is it something that you see on TV? Is it a nude mic? Does it match what you're supposed to be wearing? Like, I don't know. Is that just me being a bridezilla?
Well, again, no. For the groom, for the guys, you're gonna put it under a top. It's small. It's tiny. And sometimes you do see it. If you watch the news, you'll see like a little tiny mic on the guy's lapel or lady's lapel, and that's what a lapel mic is. Very small. You're not supposed to. And again, but most of the time we try to hide it under your clothes like that. So
but the bride's standing close enough. And the bride is standing close enough to the groom that, like Kris said, it's going to pick up. So you don't have to worry about being mic'd. Let him have the little microphone clipped onto his pants and the lapel in there, because he's walking in, not the grand entrance like the bride. So it's all right.
I was only joking when I said we were going to mic the bride, Amber. We really generally don't ever mic the bride. We could. I do happen to have a white lapel mic in my inventory, but that is not something you ever see. Oh, yes.
You need to bedazzle it. You have it bedazzled and all gems all over it, and you put it on the back of the bride.
Do you want the Britney Spears headset, Amber?
It should be an attachment, or I was going to say it should be an attachment in the bouquet, something that you can put around the bouquet.
Oh, very clever. Until they hand the bouquet off, right, to a bridesmaid, and it goes 50 feet in the other direction.
Correct.
Well, I will say, in my situation, having a mic in my bouquet is not a good thing. It's very whimsical, so I think it would totally, if anything, any gust of wind or anything, it would it would probably just throw it off. So in my situation, so I'll just talk really close to Kris. Hello.
Hi.
Not you, Kris. Her groom, Kris. So let's talk about your reception, Amber. You have been talking about having all sorts of different type of entertainment and other brides and grooms out there. There are so many choices. Every year there's a new toy, a new gadget, some new whiz-bang idea that comes out, right? From CO2 cannons to cold sparklers to dancing on a cloud. The list goes on and on. We're going to let Kevin and Kris kind of pitch you, if you will, on some of the best upgrade and entertainment options out there. As a true Southerner, Kris, we are going to let you go first here.
I'm going to say that first off, right now, the biggest bang for your buck is party enhancement, LED batons, glow sticks. Those are making a huge comeback. They were huge back in the 90s. They were gone away, and now they've come back. Another thing, uplighting is always popular. It just adds so much ambiance for dinner, for the cocktail hour, and then when you kick off the dancing, they can move, they can flash, they can move to the dancing on the clouds. I mean, snow dances. There's so many options. It just comes down to what you want. It's what's your vision.
Toast, I know you got some of those same toys. Where do you stand on this?
I mean, all the things that make a fantastic party. The DJ can do a great job on the mic. The DJ can do an awesome job of beat matching and transition and mixing music and just keeping the beat clean. But those party enhancements are just like the race. When you go back to look at photos and look at video, you can tell when a party has the things and when they kind of didn't have the things. And if you don't have the things, it's okay. But Amber was mentioning height, and she wanted height, and I need to see you and Kris with CO2 cannons behind a fantastic DJ setup to sandstorm when the beat drops, just letting your crowd have it. I think that would be dope.
What other entertainment options or upgrades, I should say, are out there? You got to be careful with that term party enhancements, Kevin. That kind of sounds like you're dealing in drugs there.
Oh.
I mean, it is. It's a drug. It gets people high, on the event. But I mean, I was the gear guy when I got here. I have everything. My brochure looks like a scroll. When a bride's got to pick out all the things that she wants. So I mean, but right now the cold sparks are really, really popular. I mean, when they first came out, 1 or 2 guys had them. Now I think it's up to like 6 or 8, which is a lot. That's a lot for this market, for everyone to have that. I don't even think 6 or 8 guys have intelligent club lighting. So just the spark machine just kind of like, went off. But I love you some club lights. At that venue specifically, because of the concavement of the roof, I would rather club lighting over uplighting at that venue specifically.
And can you break that down, Kris, Kevin? Let's talk what the difference is between uplighting, club lighting, because I'm guessing most brides and grooms out there, right? A light's a light. What does it matter?
You want to say this, Kevin?
No, Kris, go ahead.
Okay, so uplighting. Lights sit on the ground, shine up on the walls to give kind of a architectural style lighting. So you can take the white walls, the Chandler Oaks, and you can put a pink or purple or blue or whatever color you want. Maybe take some colors out of your centerpieces or your bouquet or bridesmaids dresses to kind of add to the atmosphere. And then once you get to the dancing, you can hit a button. They'll start flashing, start moving. They'll start kind of adding to the club lighting. Now, club lighting, I think, is what he means. Lights that are up on stands, usually a spotlight, almost like when you go to if you go to a concert in the back, they have those lights that kind of go, they kind of like move just one single spot or 2 single spots. And they go on the ceiling and they go on the roof and they go down. I think that's more of that. Personally, to me, I don't think they give it your bang for your buck. That's a personal preference. I think just traditional dance floor lighting, which is going to be washes and just sound movement style lighting, do a better job. That's just a personal preference, but Kevin will tell me how I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what we do. We tell each other that we're wrong. You do things different, your way, and I do things my way, and never the two shall meet. And Coke meets Pepsi, so hello Pepsi, kind of deal. But
Coca-Cola.
for me, I picked my analogy. I get to pick which one I want to be. So for me, there's nothing more elegant. There's no single add-on that you can bring to a wedding that's more elegant than uplighting. Just the ability to set the mood with the colors and bring down the environmental lighting with the fluorescence or the spotlights or the cans at a venue. But club lighting for me, with fog, so there is a little catch to it. So we want to be able to bring fog, and it's not dancing on a cloud. It's actually atmospheric fog, so you can see the beams. For us, when we get that programmed correctly, it's called intelligent club lighting because we can tell it what to do, where to go, what color to be, where to shine. I mean, we've done some epic dancing on a cloud shots, club lights, and put them on the couple. So it's a true specific spotlight dance at the end of the night. So we can have them strobe when that beat drops with Sandstorm, and Amber and Kris are shooting the CO2. We can have them kind of bounce with strobe. There's a lot of different things that we can do with the club lighting that I feel like, as far as energy-wise, I'd rather have those in my arsenal than uplighting.
Now, you can have both, right?
Oh, yeah, Amber can have both. Yes, Amber should have both.
So when it comes to lighting, though, you guys are talking about it like every DJ has this. Are all lights the same? Should a bride and groom expect that every DJ has the same club lighting, the same uplighting? How does it change from DJ to DJ?
No, they don't have the same stuff. Like I said before, that I think more DJs have the fire effect, the cold sparks, than they do intelligent lights. They're pretty expensive. They are a pain to transport. The totems in which to get them up in the air, to get them high, to get them working in the fashion that they deserve. There's just not that many guys doing it, and then to do it well, you need a separate program which is called DMX. It's the way that a computer can talk to the lights to be able to tell it what to do. There's just not enough time, or there's not enough guys, there's not enough want in this area. I mean, Amber's family from up north, it's a staple. Like every wedding you go to has these lights, every single one. Down here, it's just not as popular.
Kris, do all your DJs have the same lights?
Was that to me?
Yeah. Do all your DJs, and we'll talk to Toast as well, do all your DJs and the DJs in the industry that you know, do they all carry around the same style uplights, let's say? Because I know that you mentioned that was important. And how do uplights vary and differ from one another?
They can vary in what color they are, because you can have just RBG, which is red, blue, green. You can have RBGW, which is red, blue, green, white. You can have amber. You can have UV. So there's definitely a difference in the color that you can get. You cannot get a true white unless you have a true white diode. You can't get an amber. You can't. I mean, there's color. So no, some of them don't have them battery powered to where they have to still be plugged into the wall. So you'll see wires that run all around the room. Some are not DMX, as he said earlier. Ours are DMX. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the same. Not the dance floor lighting's not the same. Every person's going to have something different. Some are going to be really old. Some are going to look like there's wires hanging everywhere. Some are just going to look very clean. It's definitely not all the same.
Amber, I hope we haven't overwhelmed you yet, but before we run out of time, I want to make sure you have a chance to ask the DJs some of your own questions here.
Ooh, I actually do have. So the room that I'm, getting married in the spotlight dance. I really was looking into, so the top of the area, I want it to be, I know that you've DJ'd before and out of the Treasury. So they have this sort of like sparkle effect, these stars over the top of it. Is it something that you guys offer? Is it a new thing? I know Treasury offers it with their packaging, but like a spotlight dance, I'm not into the whole smoke and fog and whatever it's called, but to me, I'm not into the floor. I don't know what it's called, but like the cloud. But it's called
dancing on a cloud or a snow effect or whatever you want to call it.
Personal, I think it looks beautiful in pictures. I think for the venue that I chose, it's not for it. That's just my personal thing. But I love the lights on the ceilings. I've heard about the uplighting. I got that. And I want to go with everything, but I'm narrowing certain things down for the venue that I'm at. So to go back to the question is, how do I get those sparkles? I want those sparkles on our last dance.
We offer that. It's just a light. It's a different style of light.
Oh, okay. So
you need more than one. So yeah, but that's something that you can do. It's called a bliss light. I mean, it's just a certain style of light.
Kevin, how would you accomplish this?
It's a Starry Night effect, which can be done with the certain light. Logistically, I'm going to let you know that it has to have the right vantage point to pull it off correctly. So you might have extra stands, kind of elevated to have that light on. So you might be looking at out at your sight line of your venue,
right,
and you're going to see an extra pole just that much higher with this light on top to make that effect. I would go with a projector personally. I've done it inside tents, and it's more of like a mapping kind of thing for me, where I would use projectors, and I can actually get motion, and I can carve out some of your pillars, and I can carve out some of the floral rings that are installed there.
So what if there is beams? Because in that area they have beams. Is it something you can set on top of beams as opposed to having poles? Because there's full electric in those beams.
As far as I know, they will not let us touch those areas. So I don't think that we're insured enough to do that. But Kevin might know better about that than I am.
No, I don't. It's a dream of mine to get one of those floral rings specifically for club lighting. That's going to happen at that venue one time soon. I want to just get up there with a scissor lift and get all the club lights all mounted up there and hidden inside the greenery. So when it's time to jam, we can really, really throw down.
Right.
I think that should be your wedding present to Amber. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like it.
I think that should be your wedding present to Amber, Kevin. So let's make the dream reality, because we're going to feature the wedding in Premier Bride, and it's going to get tons of publicity. So let this be your wedding to shine.
Take the foot right out of my mouth.
And I'm going big, baby. I am going big.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, we have
the entertainment. I swear.
We have run out of time on this podcast today. It was nothing short of entertainment for us at Entertaining. Go figure, because we have been talking with the top 2 DJ company operators, owners in the area. And, of course, that is DJ Kevin Toast right there below Ann, and DJ Kris Parnell of Footloose Entertainment right below Amber. You guys have heard it all. Of course, if you have more questions, there will be links so you can follow up and ask those questions right here on this podcast. Reach out to these guys, get your answers right there. If you're a bride or groom, and of course you can get a lot of answers coming up at any of Ann's upcoming bridal expos. They happen 4 times a year, so you want to be sure to visit the Premier Bride website of Northeast Florida to find out more about that. Amber, we will be checking in with you in another week or so. What is coming up for you? What can we expect on our next podcast?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I know that I've been so back and forth with things. I know, bear with me. But on the engagement photos because of COVID, but our friends just moved to Napa, and we're going to Napa, baby.
Congratulations. That's going to be an awesome place to go. I've got to give it to Kevin and Kris here. They're DJs that like to get that last word in. They like to make that last call, right? Kevin, Kris, advice, thoughts, feelings that you have for Amber. Go ahead, Kevin.
Just be in love. You said it before. That is the magic word for us. We only want couples to be in love. Going through COVID right now, we cannot imagine how tough it's been to keep this wedding planning train on track, and just seeing you guys and just be in love. That's all we can ask for. It is infectious. It is contagious. And without any entertainment, without any booze, any AC, as long as you guys are in love at your wedding, you guys are going to have a great time. Congratulations.
Oh, that's sweet.
I would say enjoy yourself. Just forget about all the noise. Have a great time. I agree with him. Love each other. Have fun. Enjoy your family, and just enjoy the day. Just don't. It goes so quick. So just enjoy it. And congratulations.
Aw, thank you guys. Don't worry, I love him so much. I annoy him all the time. I said I'm gonna annoy you for the rest of your life, darling.
Well, Ann, this has been a great podcast. Love bringing in some guests. Hopefully you will set this up again in the future. Bring more of your vendors on here to talk with Amber, offer advice to her and other brides and grooms out there. Everyone else, be sure to subscribe. Join us on our various podcasts. We are on audio-only platforms. We are on YouTube as well. Hit that subscribe button on any of those platforms so you can stay tuned to the latest and greatest right here and not miss a single thing as we work our way way towards Amber's wedding next April. On behalf of all of our awesome guests here, Ann, Amber, Kris, Kevin, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We will see you guys on our next episode.